Of shootings hit South LA over the weekend. 10 people have been shot. 2 people have been killed.
They all happened within a few miles of each other. Mario is live at the latest shooting that happened at Century in Maine. Mario.
Bob Brooke, the ongoing violence leaving residents here on edge. 3 shootings, as you mentioned, separate incidents within miles of each other in the span of 4 days. And you can see here the latest sparking this active homicide investigation by the LAPD. The shooting unfolding near this strip mall parking lot just outside of a T-Mobile store where the victim's body is covered right now. It was just before midnight. Take a look. This is at the corner of Century and Main Street. Police say 2 men were shot. A 25-year-old died at the scene. A 51-year-old man was rushed to the hospital in stable condition. Officers found dozens of shell casings scattered across the street here. Investigators telling us, according to witnesses, the victims were walking on the sidewalk when a group of suspects drove up to them, drew guns, and opened fire. And those suspects, they say, drove away with no vehicle description given. Police now calling the attack likely gang-related. And about 9 hours before this deadly gunfire, police responded to a mass shooting less than a mile away at Figueroa in Manchester, where 5 people were shot in broad daylight. The victims, 19 to 35 years old, 4 men and a woman. 1 remains in critical condition. Police say here 2 or 3 shooters were involved, speeding off in a white sedan. The violence sparking an urgent response from city leaders, Mayor Bass calling it senseless, and the police chief speaking out about the ongoing violence as well.
School right across the street. That's the time generally that the school is letting out. The senselessness and the callousness of where they did it and when they did it, it should really hit all of us.
Now, investigators say it may have all started Saturday night. Deadly gunfire at 80th and Figueroa in the Vermont Knolls neighborhood. A 35-year-old man was killed, 2 others injured, and LAPD detectives believe that shooting may have set off this latest wave of violence, including last night's deadly attack. The mayor says police presence will now be increased here in South LA, hoping to prevent even more bloodshed. Now, coming back out here live, these are at least 2 of several cameras that we see here in the area. Investigators have been trying to get their hands on footage, talking to any potential witnesses. Again, 3 shootings, 3 locations within a few miles. For now, that's the latest here in South LA. I'm Mario Ramirez. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Mario, thank you.
Top of the AM. Look, check me out. To all the little homies and homegirls in LA County, let me lace y'all up on something real quick. I'm going to tell y'all what the homies not telling y'all. See, when they catch you for these crimes that they booking y'all for, they're not offering y'all no deals. These unalivings that's going back and forth in these areas, y'all know what hoods they is. We know what hoods they is. You could tell just by looking at the news what hood they is. They know who they looking for. When they catch you for them, they going to put you up against a district attorney that's batting 1,000, that ain't losing. See, they got district attorneys set aside for cases like that. High-profile district attorneys. And this is what the homies is not telling y'all. They not telling y'all that these district attorneys is going to come for you and they not going to give you no deal. They going for the gusto. And they could try you up to 3 times. They not telling you that. All right? If you don't got a paid attorney, and you going to need at least 200 bands to go against these kind of district attorneys, because they don't lose. If you don't have that kind of money, you likely going to get a public defender. And if you get a public defender issued by the court, 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, that public defender works in the same office as the prosecutor that's going to prosecute you. I'm not insinuating nothing. I'm telling you facts. They work in the same office. All right. You going to pick 6 jurors, and the district attorney's going to pick 6 jurors, right? And then they're going to have this thing called opening statements, where they going to sit there and where the district attorney is going to tell the jury what you did and play a videotape. If they got videotape, play an audio tape. Hey, look, at the end of the day, they're going to say what they need to say and do what they need to do to get that conviction. And you're going to roll that dice because you're going to be sitting there and your public defender going to tell you, don't say nothing. I advise you not to take the stand. If you take the stand, the prosecutor could cross-examine you. And by the look of this evidence that you got, it really don't look that good for you. This is what's going to happen to you. And at that point, you're going to realize, I fucked up. I fucked up. Because they're going to take you back into that holding tank after that hearing that day of 5 days or 2 weeks or 3 days. And you're going to realize the only thing you're looking at is either freedom, if you don't get convicted, or life without the possibility of parole. That's when it sinks in. And then you're going to look up in that courtroom and you ain't even going to have none of the homies that never laced you up in there. You're going to be in there by yourself, probably with your grandmama or your mama or your daddy, if they still alive, or nobody, if you ain't got nobody left. So I'm just going to leave y'all with that, because I ain't going to go into the penitentiary thing. But when you go up against these LA County prosecutors, just know they batting 1,000.
Good morning. A lot of moving parts here. So this all came to an end just after 5 o'clock this morning when deputies finally moved in and arrested those 3 suspects. But it was a wild and dangerous night to get to that point. And I actually just spoke to one of the deputies that was involved in that pursuit. He says he was in that vehicle that was shot at by suspects after they were in another area. They saw what happened at a 7-Eleven with a shooting there, and they went off after those suspects. So take a look at that video from the scene overnight. When they tried to intervene, the suspects took off, sparking a chase that went down the 91 freeway and back into Compton. That's when the deputy says the suspects opened fire on them, striking the top of their patrol unit. He says they recovered at least 2 shell casings from that, though. They heard several rounds. Thankfully, no deputies were hurt there. The pursuit then ended near 139th and Zamora Avenue, where deputies found 2 rifles in the suspect's vehicle. But the suspects weren't done just yet. They bailed on foot, jumping fences and hiding in backyards. So that's what you're looking at here. That led to an overnight standoff in a neighborhood at East 139th and South Hilford Avenue. Dozens of deputies, SWAT teams, K-9 units, and even a tactical armored vehicle called the Rook surrounded the area prepared to be used. So over loudspeakers, deputies ordered the suspects to surrender, but they never came out. At one point, they even deployed a flashbang. That's what you heard there, to try to force them out. Finally, just after 5 a.m., deputies moved in by force and took all 3 suspects into custody. They were found scattered in different spots, but all are now under arrest. If you come back out to us live here, the neighborhood has since been cleared, though deputies are still working out of this staging area. Looking at, this is where we are at off of Rosecrans. We sent several people from the neighborhood. They've been brought here, not suspects, but likely being questioned with this investigation. They are all on the other side of this parking lot. We've been asked to stand over here away from that investigation. But now, after a chase, there was gunfire, a long standoff. This all 3 suspects have now been arrested, but this all started at a shooting at another location at Long Beach Boulevard. So Mark Liu now joins us at the desk with more on that homicide investigation. Mark, what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, and Amanda, your scene very active, but there is a second scene where this all started in the Compton area, where a man was found shot and was later taken to the hospital, and he died. We have a breaking news crew at that scene as well. Let me bring you to live pictures of that. What you're looking at here, the street's still closed, Long Beach and Shinner. Now, there is crime tape up on the sidewalk right in front of a liquor store here. LA County Sheriff's homicide detectives are here working the scene. They say this is the originating point of that pursuit that ended where Amanda Starantino is, over to the northwest, about 4 miles away. LA County Sheriff's deputies say it was about 10:40 last night that they responded here for shots fired. They said they found a man down on the ground here in critical condition, suffering from a gunshot wound. LA County fire paramedics whisked him away to a local hospital. Unfortunately, he died at the hospital, so a homicide investigation was launched here. Now, the suspects involved in this shooting later led deputies on a pursuit that ended with that search and large perimeter where Amanda was. It's unclear right now. We are trying to get information about how those suspects were connected to this shooting, if deputies actually saw them here at this scene or they developed evidence and then followed them, and that's how the pursuit started. There was a homicide lieutenant at this scene. We are waiting to talk to him. Now, let me bring you over to my computer and show you the locations of where this is. So here is that scene that you saw right here that I was just showing you, live pictures of where that homicide happened. That's Long Beach and Shinner. But the pursuit took the suspects all the way over here, about 4 miles away. This is the location 139th and Zamora, where Amanda was. And during that pursuit, as Amanda mentioned, there were shots fired at deputies. So this is a major investigation coming back out live here to me. Both of those scenes still active this morning and likely will be for several more hours as deputies and detectives have a lot of work to do gathering evidence and getting this case together. That's the very latest from the desk. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Mark, thank you.